It is undoubtedly the hottest segment in the Indian car space right now, the subcompact or the sub 4-meter sedan. Now, lots of volume is being notched up in this space, and it's not really been courtesy the first entrant, which was Tata, but it is the Swift Dzire. The Amaze came in and really tried to shake things up because, frankly, it was the most proportionate looking car and looked the most upmarket, and it was a Honda. Now you've got the Challenger, which is the Grand i10 turned Xcent, all right, which is, of course, the latest entrant, and which is why we are reviewing this segment for you. And it looks fairly smart, but then you've got the car that really started it all, the Swift Dzire, which looks not as proportionate. No, hang on, I'm sorry, what? You can't see the car. Go whack your TV set, folks. It's right here. It's the Maruti Dzire. No? Well, you know what? Maruti thought they don't really need to give us the car for this particular review, so let's pretend that it's there. It is the segment bestseller, so we didn't want to ignore it totally. So think hard, imagine the car right there with us. So it's not the best looker of the three for sure. The Amaze has a certain amount of appeal because it's a Honda, but in terms of the face and in terms of looking a little bit grand, the Xcent takes it away. So you do remember how we had the Swift Dzire take on the Honda Amaze on CNB last year. The cars seemed closely matched, yet the Amaze was ahead in terms of quality, engineering and proportions. So now let's look at the interiors. Decent legroom and rear AC vents, just some of the USPs when it comes to the cabin of the Xcent. The dash looks well laid out. The top end comes loaded with goodies, including Bluetooth, telephony and steering controls. Reasonable quality of plastics and overall a pleasant cabin. That's what you get on the Amaze. In some ways, the plastics do remind of the City, but the quality isn't as good. And the strange brown textured plastic around the central console, like in the Brio, is, well, strange. The seats are comfy though. The Swift Dzire, very airy cabin. Alright, you know what, to be fair, let's take a look at what it really looks like. The Swift Dzire was a step up from its predecessor. The built-in music system is nice, but that's pretty much it. No Bluetooth, and the car is just okay on plastics and really cramped on rear seat legroom. The prices tell you exactly what each manufacturer is trying to do here. Maruti has always tried to hit the right equation. Honda wants to stay a tad premium, and Hyundai has gone for the kill. The cars we have on the show today are the best-selling diesels, by the way. So now before we get into the drive and just figure out the performance on these cars, I thought let me bring in another opinion, and not just mine then, as far as the performance goes. Now, we've got a pretend car on the show today, but the second opinion, not pretend. It's someone that you know very well, because we've of course got Dhruv Behel joining us, who's been on our jury and has been on the show before as well. Dhruv, thanks for taking the time out.
No, it's great to be here. I mean, this is a very important segment, so I'm happy to be here.
It is one of the hottest, as we've been saying, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to take turns, drive both the cars. Oh, I'm sorry, all three cars, and then
I might struggle with the third one a little bit.
Yeah, I know, it's actually perhaps maybe the most fun, you know, like okay. Really nice feeling of being one with the outdoors.
Sure, I'm with you on that one.
All right, so we're going to go do this, and then we'll regroup. So I wanted to start with this car. All right, so we might as well get onto the road. I'm going to go start with the Maruti. Ta-da! Here I am. You can stand in this car, there's so much room.
So I've got a racing seat lying in the office which we had used for the simulator. Yeah. I should have brought that. We put you in that, put a steering wheel in front of you.
The Swift Dzire is a reasonably fun car to drive. It's agile and the 1.3 diesel motor is its big USP. All three cars have an automatic option, only in petrol though. The Swift also corners and handles well, but really makes you wonder why you wouldn't just buy the sportier hatch, which drives better anyway. Now the Amaze, which you're also pretty familiar with. The car is better engineered, the ride quality is also good, and it's zippy. The diesel though is a very loud engine, and overall road and engine noise filters into the cabin with ease and aplomb. So let's move to the newbie. Right, so then the engine is a disappointment, especially after the Grand i10. I think my expectation level was higher. It's also really noisy, so that's annoying, all that noise filtering through. Not quite as noisy as the Amaze though, I have to say. The part that is good, handling. Now when you take a nice well-designed hatch and then you mess it up by adding a boot, there is a fear that, all right, things aren't going to be all that great when it comes to the handling picture. But it does deliver on that front, and so that's great. Ride quality is all right, but it's also the steering, nice and precise. You don't expect that on Hyundais, do you? This is how the three fare on engines and tech specs. We're only showing you the diesels, of course, as that is what we're comparing today. So I'm a buyer. Here's the latest car, novelty factor. Everybody's talking about it, so I'm interested. Honda to Honda hoti hai ji, so might as well look at that badge and get a little excited about the Honda as well. And then you got the bestseller. Everybody says buy the Maruti because it just makes sense. They got a network that's unparalleled. What do I buy?
So I think one of the reasons for us to put these cars on the track was to try and figure out what the performance levels are. So if you enjoy the act of driving, then I would say that you've got the Amaze, which is clearly the better car just by virtue, from the driver's seat, just by virtue of having a much bigger engine. I mean, there's a 30 horsepower difference, there's a one-cylinder addition to this engine. It revs a little nicer. So from that point of view, if you want a little bit of grunt, then it's the Amaze. But that's not to take away from the fact that the Xcent is refined. It's got a lot of bells and whistles, and it gives you what Hyundai is best at today, which is a lot of value for money and a lot of equipment.
So yeah, I guess when it comes down to it, overall, net, things start to tilt in the favor of the blue car back there.